Hello, Ruby Lane dolls. It's Rachel here in the Dolly Cam. I am here live at the Grovian Doll Museum in Pacific Grove, California. And do we have a treat for you? So for our April Doll Talk, we are here to talk about Palais Royale, the art of shopping. The wonderful thing about this video is that if you would like to purchase what we are talking about, you can do your own shopping right in the link that's posted on the title of this video. So you can click through to the pattern section of Ruby Lane in the Dolls Lane, and you can purchase the pattern that we're about to talk about with Michael Canadas. Michael, welcome.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Ruby Lane.
Hello.
How are you?
We are wonderful. We are so great, and thank you for welcoming us back again. How are you?
We're good. We're good. We're delighted to have you.
Thank you for having us.
And it's what we're sharing today is an exhibit, a mini exhibit that we put together for our last sewing workshop, which the name of the costume that they created was called Palais Royale. And it's a costume based on an original Hire ensemble. And then we spent over a year having the fabric made. So this is a very special fabric. When it came time to advertise the ensemble, we had to think of an appropriate name for the costume. It's not a ball gown, it's a day suit. And then it came to me that one of the most wonderful places in the world is Paris. And one of the least known places, but one of the most romantic, is the area that's called Palais Royale. And if we could take a look at this drawing from the 18th century, Palais Royale was originally a palace for a cardinal. And when he died in 1643, the King of France took it back. Under the reign of Louis XVI, it was turned into a shopping arcade. And it was one of the first shopping arcades in the world that was covered and had pavement. Before that, it was all mud. You'd have to deal with mud and dirty streets. So this was totally a state-of-the-art shopping. It still exists today. The interesting thing about it is that, you know, Louis XVI is not given much credit for the economics in France, but this is a living reminder of how they were trying to revitalize the economy after their help with the American Revolution. So as an antique collector, when you say Palais Royale, it's a type of thing, a very high quality, usually gilded, small, because the shops are not large. There might be shops that sold just feathers, because feathers were very expensive. There might be shops that just sold candies. Today, they're basically still doing the same thing. But what is wonderful, if you get a chance to go to Paris, walk through the Palais Royal, the gardens, almost every day there's a wedding happening there, a new life beginning. Also in the spring and summer, there's impromptu restaurants. So they're not there in the winter, but they show up in the spring and summer. So it's a wonderful place. But first I want to show you the costume of Palais Royale.
And speaking of walking through Paris, the way you have set this up, it literally feels like we are there. So this is just wonderful.
Thank you. And so this is the costume. And of course, we only pick the most difficult silks that there are to reproduce. That's what we go for. So this took a whole solid year. And then Louise Hedrick, who created the pattern, she based it on one of our Hire costumes. But the costume that she did it in was in browns and russets. And we just wanted to use this fabulous floral with the solid. So she created it for the new Hire, which is about 14.5 inches. And we also did it for the real antique Hire, which is 17, 18 inches. So that, you know, they're available for those two-size dolls.
Wonderful.
And it doesn't have to go on a Hire. It can go on many kinds of other kinds of dolls. It could go on roamers. It can go on other French. So that's our sales pitch of the day.
It is, and the link is right in the video, everybody, so you can click through right now.
But so when we do a workshop, any of our workshops, we always have a special exhibit. Like we had one with beginning sewers, so we had a lot of implements, tools, the things that you need for beginning sewing. So with Palais Royale, we went through the museum and we took a little bit out of each case, things that we, David and myself, would consider Palais Royale items. And if you go on Ruby Lane, you'll see in the antique section things that are listed as, in the title, Palais Royale. It's usually perfume bottles, sewing necessaires.
Wonderful small things.
Small things. Small, exquisite things. So here is a small, exquisite item.
Oh, look at this stagecoach. That is amazing.
It's a carriage, Rachel.
It's a carriage.
You're from Denver.
Yeah. That's what we call them out west.
Yes, it's a royal carriage. But you know what's so fabulous about it? It's a tape measure.
Oh, look at that.
So you pull the tape out here.
Okay, I need one.
And then you pull it out there, and then you retract it with the top piece. So it's a little.
It's awesome.
I mean, this is a glorified stagecoach. So it's a wonderful piece. So this is a kind of a thing that you could go to Palais Royale, and you could go into a shop and you could find a piece like that. Also too, this is just a gorgeous candy box. So there would be shops that would just sell candies, chocolates. Chocolates were very expensive and candies were expensive. Sugar wasn't a common item. So if you gave a gift, you would put it in a beautiful
Look
box.
at that box. That's just stunning.
And by the way, the Palais Royale area is near the Louvre, the famous Louvre Museum. So it's really in the epicenter of Paris.
Wonderful. We have people tuning in from all over the world, London, New York. They are here at Palais Royale, which you have recreated for us. This is incredible.
So here's one. I'm not going to pick it up, but I think you should show this. This is I think one of the Grovian's treasures. And it's a decanter set in gold with garnets.
Those are real garnets.
Those are real garnets.
Stunning.
And I have, we were lucky to find that in Seattle, and I would have actually walked to Seattle to actually get this. This is from the Napoleon III era. So this is, 1850 to 1874. Now, here's a really super early Palais Royale piece. So that's Empire. So that would be, 1810, 1800 to 1810. Just a wonderful item where they've used mother of pearl, and ormolu is basically gold-plated metal. It could be many different kinds of metal, but it's basically gold-plated when people use the term ormolu.
This is so wonderful. And with Hurets and Huret collectors, yes, it's all about the doll, but it's really all about, again, her costumes and the accessories.
Accessories. I mean, at our sewing workshop, we had one of the attendees who's a French fashion collector, and she stood in front of this, and she said, "This is why I collect French fashion.
Exactly.
It's for all the things." So you could go and buy a beautiful, in Palais Royale, beautiful miniature, on ivory, beautifully painted. You could also buy miniature furniture, anything that was small, because as I said, the shops were not big. But this, I think you should look at this too, Rachel. This is a pin cushion, but it's made in the shape of a pillow that would be used for lace making. So this would have been also made full size, and you'd put your tools for lace making on top of this. And, so it was just a fabulous, this is just a simple pin cushion of a totally different time when there was, these luxury goods were just so desirable. But this is also another early piece that I'm very excited about. Now I want you to look at it, Rachel. You see they made a mistake. They put the print upside down.
Oh, look at that.
But here, stand here and look in the mirrored bottom.
See
So
if we
when
can
you
get
look
the
at
camera to-
when you look at the mirrored bottom, it's correct.
That's amazing.
Isn't that kind of neat? And this is again a very early piece, probably about 1800. And then of course, perfume was very important in the Palais Royale, particularly all through the 18th and 19th century. Perfume was very, very important, very expensive. You know, hygiene was not the greatest, so they used a lot of perfume. So you would glorify your stash of perfume with gorgeous bottles. And again, here's another sewing set. Look at this. This is a little sewing kit that they've created. Put a china doll with it, the vanity, the chair. It's all really sensational.
That is incredible. Just wonderful. And of course, the wonderful Huré green right
Yes.
here on the boxes.
Yes, and this piece here is a candy box. But you can see that the Huré company wasn't the only ones that loved this color of green. And in this green, there's a certain amount of arsenic in the green, which, you know, it was a new exciting color, but it also made people sick that worked with it. And this is a gorgeous thing that would also work for a French fashion doll. It's just a little trinket box, but it's set up like a little sewing basket. Isn't that beautiful?
Just stunning.
And on the top, it has a beautiful ivory image of a little scene.
Hopefully everyone can see that. Again, we are here at the Grovian Doll Museum with Michael Canadas. This is a wonderful Palais Royale themed display that is right here. And you can also, if you love this Huré dress right here, you can get the pattern on Ruby Lane, on the Dolls Lane right now.
This is also a wonderful piece. This is absolutely Napoleon III, which would be the 1850s to 70s. And one of the reasons I know that is if you see the little bumblebee, and the bumblebee was an insignia that the Bonaparte family used. That was, I think all of our people that know about the Jumeau dolls with the bumblebees, we can kind of know the Jumeau family's political alliance because they put the bumblebee on their shoes. But it is a Bonaparte insignia, and it was their message that, you know, we are industrious, because bees are industrious. But it's
They're
a
very hard
wonderful,
workers.
a wonderful
That is a
piece with
fantastic-
all the porcelain. And this is like a miniature sewing hassock. So this would have been for yarns and sewing projects. Very, very sweet piece. But again, these were very expensive. Now, I would love to show you, Rachel, what's inside of this cabinet. And there's wonderful things, except that when we had the exhibit, I
lost the key.
decided to lock it and put the key where I wouldn't lose it, and I don't know where I put it. So at some point, I'll be able to show you the things, but not
Maybe
today.
we can post some pictures in the comments.
Yes, yes. And here's kind of a wonderful piece of, you know, we love these kind of things. And this was gifted to us many years ago. And in the Palais Royale area, they would have had shops that just sold ribbons and trims and laces. And this is a little fragment of Empress Eugenie's dressing table. So they were getting the fabrics to replace it. And this is her dressing table from the Palais Fontainebleau. So it's a wonderful
It's
piece.
just wonderful.
And very sadly, many years after her, you know, their reign was over, as a tourist, Empress Eugenie went to the Palace of Fontainebleau and just went on a tour of the palace with everyone else. And then when she got into her son's room, she fainted. And that's when everyone knew that it was the Empress. So this is a wonderful little
Wonderful.
document that someone thought of, you know, to give it to us. and it's part of this piece. This would have held a piece similar to this. This would have gone on top of the dressing table. So the dressing table would have been festooned with lace and ribbons and silk, and then this would have gone on top, and you would have had your perfume here. You would have probably put your special little trinkets here.
I see a lot of blue. Is blue a kind of a recurring theme in the...
I think blue, royal blue is very special. I mean, I think people love pink, people love blue. I actually love the combination of this pink and this
the materials
rosy
are
pink.
just stunning.
Yes.
Is the hat included in the pattern as well?
Hat is included.
Tracy Vallis just said, I can't sew. Is the dress cut out and do you just put it together? Or how much of a sewer do you need to be to make this work?
I would say, Tracy, I know you are loaded with talent, so don't give me that. You come to one of our classes and you will leave with the skill of a 7-year-old French girl, or maybe 4-year-old French girl. I will be very honest. The trickiest part is the bodice. If you could do the bodice, you could do the rest. And it's, we have directions. If you follow the directions, they work. So, it can
You
be
can
done.
figure it out.
And the nice thing about this too, Rachel, not to be the, total salesperson, but if you have the pattern, there's nothing to stop you from making 100 of these in different colors.
Right.
And you could also you could eliminate this. There's quite a bit of labor in here. You could eliminate this area and do something solid. So you just have to do it.
You just have to do it. And you can
have to do it.
I love what you said, though. You can buy the pattern once and you can make 100
Yes.
dresses.
And you have to get into that Zen place. If you're doing it and you're in a hurry and you want to get it done fast, this isn't kind of the project
Right.
for you.
Well, there's nothing to say you have to do it yourself either.
No, that's
You
true.
could buy it and
That's
have somebody
true.
else do it.
That's true. And we've had that happen here plenty of times. I also want to, this is just something too. I love things like this. It's not a particularly valuable item, but what's so special about it is it's powders that have never been removed. It's a whole set of powders still in their original little, isn't that wonderful?
Just like what I put on my face
Exactly,
right before we went live.
Except that in this period, cosmetics and things were just so much more expensive.
right.
It's hard for your generation to know what our generation knew, how expensive clothing was and cosmetics and perfume. I mean, when my mother got French perfume, that was a big deal. Now it's fairly available. So this is one of the things, and then I'm going to show you this. Look at this. It's basically some of the finest elfinware.
Oh, that's just
that.
stunning.
And again, you know what? We do have
Okay,
something
we need all
blue.
of it. It all needs to go with the
Yeah,
with the
we
pattern.
do have something blue going on, and
Oh, look at that,
and I
everybody.
adore this. And by the way, I bought this off of Ruby Lane, so I shouldn't tell you. And it was not in.
You're
the,
giving up your
It
secrets.
wasn't in the doll lane.
Yeah, that's-
So this is It's called Paris porcelain. It's very early, but you don't really see Paris porcelain with these. It's almost like elfinware with this 3-dimensional flowers. But this is a wonderful thing, and you can see if you were a glorious French fashion doll from the Second Empire, how wonderful that is together.
I tell a lot of doll collectors one of my favorite top 5 tips I would say for doll accessories on Ruby Lane is to not shop in the dolls lane. Use your periphery.
Yes,
Go into
you
the
really
antiques
do.
lane.
Absolutely. And and the funny thing is sometimes people post things that really should be in the doll lane in the antique lane.
Right.
So that if
You
you
can
go through it,
score that way
yeah,
though.
yes, you can. And this is a wonderful piece too. I mean, this is so
Gilding on that is
so
just
jewel-like.
amazing. Look at that.
And,
it glows.
Yeah, it glows. Isn't that fantastic? And I believe that this is cornelian, which is a very nice little stone. And I mean, it's just as smooth as glass. It's just so beautiful. But look at and one thing you want to look for in Armalou pieces is the sharpness of the casting. So the closer you can get to what I call jewelry quality, the better. That's what you really want to look for.
And you can, that's how you can often tell the difference between
honestly,
a repro
yes. And sometimes things, let's just face it, are kind of, this is very beautiful, but it's more dolly-like. It doesn't have the pizzazz of this, but they're not going to put this stone on just anything. They're going to put it on. But yeah,
was
this
definitely
is
a
a
premium
wonderful
option.
piece
Wonderful.
too. I'm not,
We have Rhonda King tuning in. We
Hi,
have
Rhonda.
Catherine Peterson is here. We
Hi,
have
Catherine.
so many
The
people that are
gang's all
tuned. The
here.
gang's all here, and we are here at the Grovian at Palais Royale. This is so wonderful.
this piece I want to show you too. If you went into the antique lane, you would find a lot of Margerelle glass. They also made furniture, and this little chest is a piece of Margerelle furniture from the 1890s.
This is Margerelle. Amazing.
Yeah, signed Margerelle, and it's a wonderful piece. But look at what's on top of it. It's
Yeah,
a
this is
jeweled
just-
clock with a Nubian leading on what are they?
Didn't you see this from across the room and kind of
Yes, I did.
swoop in?
A Nubian riding or leading on a ostrich. That's the
It's
word.
just
But look at the
phenomenal.
wings move,
Yeah.
and those are all sapphires. And I love pieces like this. But I also love pieces like this that are, in a way, they're very, very simple. It's a little Tantalus set. It's all made out of paper, and you open it up, and all the glass is there. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I just
breathtaking.
love things like this.
Can you see that, everybody? Look at that. And of course, the wonderful green. It
That
goes
green,
so well with the
yes.
Hurray.
Oh, absolutely.
Just wonderful.
And and sometimes our girls, they need a cocktail. What can I tell you?
Once in a while,
Yeah.
hey, can't fault us.
And then, of course, this music stand is, has that wonderful jewelry-like quality in the Armalou, which is one of the things you want to look for. But here's also too, casebook to me, casebook, Palais Royale. This would be very desirable to someone who does not collect dolls. You open it up, and there's the most exquisite hand mirror.
Look at that. Wonderful.
I mean, this was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And again, it's got the beautiful casting that you want to look for. And, this would have been possibly for a doll, but also just for a collector.
miniature collector.
A miniature collector, because people
Many of
have always liked miniatures.
Many miniature collectors actually do not collect dolls, or
No,
might have one or two.
Exactly. And again, here is a superior candy box. I mean, I showed you this one. This would be, not the most expensive. Now we're getting into the expensive area. And I found the key.
Oh, yay!
Wow, that was exciting. But this is wonderful with this
it's gorgeous.
silver and the gilding.
gold and-
But again, look at the quality of the straps.
Oh, I love the buckling,
Yeah.
buckling detail.
I mean, I honestly, I get as excited or more excited over these items than I do a lot of dolls. I really. So let's see if the key works.
Share the video, everyone, so anyone watching can transport to Palais Royale. I truly feel like I'm in Paris right now.
And again, here's just a wonderful little scent bottle. And I guess we do have a blue thing going on because it's more blue and beautiful.
Okay, now we can get inside this
We
wonderful
can get
case.
inside of this case. It looks like, and then here is a vinaigrette that you would have your little vinegar in it in case your corset was too tight and you started to faint. They would give you the little vinaigrette, also, known as smelling salts too. But there's all kinds of wonderful little prizes in this case, and there's a little, because we couldn't get in it, we couldn't neaten it up. So now I can do a little bit of housekeeping. So there's just wonderful things.
So I want to talk about the pattern again, because I know that you only have a limited amount of patterns right now. I believe it was around 14 for the 12-inch doll.
Yes.
There's 2 patterns listed, so let's
Yes,
talk about that.
there's 2 patterns listed. There's the pattern for we're calling it the new Hire, which is the Hire that's made with the doll parts body, and it's 14.5 inches. So we have patterns for that, and then we have patterns for we call it the 17, 18 inch, because Hires kind of fall between that. And we've got, I think, quite a few of those. But when we run out, as you can see, we do have yardage. Because if you're going to go through a year's worth of international drama to have fabrics made, then you have it made. So we do have some, and we will sell some yardage, separately too, if somebody fell in love with it. So at this point we've got, I think, a nice amount for the full-size antique Hire, and then we've got a limited amount for the smaller. But we will have more.
Just wonderful.
I mean, you'll have to be patient. If we run out, we will have them we'll get them some more. I want to show you this too here, Rachel, because we've done so much talking about chinoiserie. And look at that little, let me lift the dome off so you don't have that reflection on it. But look at that little chinoiserie clock. It's just a delightful item.
It is delightful, and for those that are wondering what chinoiserie is, it's kind of an Asian interpretation.
Yes, it's the Europeans' version of an Asian aesthetic, which has nothing to do with anything that really was Asian. So,
right. So you can have chinoiserie slippers, a cloth, a dress.
Absolutely, because they were, one of the things about Palais Royale is they thought to the French people and the international tourists that went there, they thought they were in Ali Baba's cave. This was a place that was filled with mystical, wonderful things from the Far East and Asia, and the sights and smells. I mean, it was a magical place. And it was also a place for nighttime window shopping. Mm-hmm. Now, it was one of the places that had lighting at nighttime. So I mean, that's, again, very much in the Palais Royale feeling. And then, of course, miniature furniture. I mean, this is really an outstanding secretaire Abaton that has the desk drawer that pulls out and becomes a desktop. Now, you think this is a new thing in computers, but it's been around way longer than that. It's been here.
It's just wonderful. Now, if you were going to be lucky enough to ever find an original Hire dress, you're talking thousands of dollars.
Yes. I mean, I don't
At
think...
least.
Yes, it is going to be if you want a good one, mm-hmm. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be in the thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. I had someone, I think we discussed this before, that called and made an offer on one of the dresses in the museum, which, by the way, they're not for sale, but they called and said, I'll give you $1,000 for that dress. And I, kind of laughed.
Well, because if you know about Hire dresses,
it's like really, you're just so way off.
Yeah. Well, and they're just so rare. So to be able to get a pattern like this is really just such a wonderful opportunity.
And it's also too, it's fun. It's a fun.
It's fun. It's an opportunity,
fun thing to do. It's you could buy online, Ruby Lane and other sources. You can buy a very nice doll, and you don't have to have, the biggest budget in the world. You could buy a very nice doll and build a world around it. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you've got a basic pattern, and you could just start. I mean, because this is an elevator skirt. This could be let out. It could just be
you
a
could
skirt
absolutely
without
customize this into several different styles.
You could.
You could do a lot with the sleeves. I love it, though. By the way,
we do have other patterns that we will put out there.
Great.
Sure.
So when these are made into dresses, they are artist dresses, and they are just wonderful. And then themselves, they do sell for hundreds of dollars.
Yes, and I want
after they are made.
And well, I don't think, you know what, I think that if someone crafts this for you, you need to expect to pay them some serious money for it.
Yeah,
because it's a lot
absolutely.
of work. But this I want you to see. This is very delicate silk, but this has all been been pinked for you on an antique machine. So you won't have to do this. This will come like that. And trust me, this is
You don't want to do it.
This is not an easy thing to
No.
do. There's certain treatments that you have to do to the fabric before you could even do that. And you can actually, with the machines, which are basically like a hand crank machine, you can't just put the silk in it. You have to put things below it, other fabrics below it, to get that clean cut. So that part's done for you. So you don't have that, you don't have to do. And, you know, the people that make our kits, Louise Hedrick that did this, you know, they figure out how they did it once upon a time. And there's a lot of trial and error in that.
Well, you've been working on developing this
Yes.
pattern and kit for over a year now,
Yes.
and now it's
Well,
finally here.
the fabric to create this fabric took a solid year. And I should have kind of known that, because this kind of watered silk, in the 19th century, it was one of the most difficult things to do. So we went and chose that for, you know, the 21st century. So
Oh, it's just wonderful how you have it presented with the roses up there that match. It's just a doll lovers and a sewing lovers and an accessory lovers dream.
Rachel, this is how we play.
Yeah, this is how it works around here. This is where the dolls live in California.
Yeah, it's how we play. So, you know, we don't get to spend that much time playing, because this is a business, a real business with responsibilities. But, you know, this kind of creative thing, this is how we play. So, you know, it's fun for me. It was fun to go around and do a little scavenger hunt through the piece. But let me show you this too. This is one of before we go, one of my favorite. This is this is the Empress of France, and original portrait. This, by the way, this tiara still exists. But look at the detail of all the jet beads here. I mean, it's just amazing. So, you know, and it's just
Is
a
it a
little
trinket box?
It's a little. I think it's a powder box.
Powder box, yeah.
You know,
Wonderful.
I think, you know, it's an ivory. You know, I don't like the idea of ivory, but it's a little ivory powder box. And of course, powder was expensive too then.
Powder, salt, wonderful. This is just phenomenal. And if somebody's watching and they want to buy the pattern, it is linked, everybody. It is linked in the video, and we will link it again in the comments section.
Well, you know what, Rachel, it was great having you here, and we're going to get in our car and we're going to go off site. Oh, in about maybe half an hour, 30 minutes.
We're going to be in Spain.
We're going to go to Spain, and we're going to look at a phenomenal royal residence.
And we will see you there.
Bye-bye, Ruby Lane.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.